Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. Today we're here for a new nervous guide. I feel like this is going to be the motherload of nervous guides, because if you don't know, for every show that I do one of these for, I have a little like cheat sheet of things that I remember to write down, and sometimes it's merely that was Midsummer Night's Dream. There is that was the guy who doesn't like musicals. That is this one. Yeah. Hello. Today we are going to do the first of two videos on a show, that show being Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club in London. So if you want to know what you need to know for this show before you go in, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. So yes, like I said, losing everything here. So hello, welcome back. I hope you are well. You're thinking, why 2 videos? What is she talking about? We do this little to do every video. Well, we're going to do it again in case you're new. Apologies also for the red nose. I've got a cold. It's not fun. But for every show that I see, I like to do 2 separate videos, time and willing permitted. The first one being the nervous guide. That's this one. The nervous guide is basically anything you need to know before the show, before you go in, be that seat information, what my view was like, and comfort of said seat, or age restrictions or recommendations, running times, content warnings, sensory warnings, information about the theatre, whatever might help before you go into the show, just to have a little bit of a safety blanket to help you go in. And then the second one that we do is the review. Review is always put in inverted commas because at the end of the day I'm no way professional. I just like going to see the theatre and talking about it to a camera, because why not? So yes, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's do seat first, because unlike normally I'm like, here is my view of the seat, I can't do that for this video, because if you don't know, when you visit the Kit Kat Club, the first, or one of the first things that will happen is that you will be greeted by a lovely human being who will put a sticker over your phone. You go through kind of a side entrance, in which you go down a set of stairs. You are greeted by a glorious Kit Kat Club eye. I don't know how else to describe it, which I do have a picture of. You turn a corner, go down some more stairs, and you are entering the club. The lighting changes, but before that happens, you are greeted, one, by a possible shot of schnapps, which I did not take because I don't do shots, and then by another person who gives you a sticker which they put over your back camera. So for the entirety of the show, even the interval, you'll have a sticker on your phone. So I have no visible, here is my seat picture like I normally do. It was the weirdest thing to be in possession of my phone but not be using it the way I would usually use it in a theatre. It was really odd, especially because when you enter the club setting, there is people dancing and moving and music being played, and you're like, oh, I want to film this, and you can't, which is crazy. Like, it shouldn't be a big problem, but it just felt really weird. However, I can talk about my seat. I was sat in the dress circle. I still think that's what it's called. The dress circle, however, is on 2 sides. There is arrows and hints, and there is front of house everywhere in case you get lost, which we did as a pairing, me and my friend. We went to the complete opposite side of the auditorium and then had to revert back and ask another person to help us get to our seats because we got disorientated quite easily. I believe, I didn't purchase the tickets, but I believe we were sat in D, and we were also sat at the end of a row, which meant that my seat did have some rails in the way, but they weren't debilitating rails, if you will. I could still see absolutely everything, no problem, but they were there. The seat width was pretty decent. I was comfy throughout. The first half I did get a slightly numb bum, but that is down to the fact that the first half is an hour and 40 minutes long, so I kind of accepted my fate there. And then the second half is 45 minutes. Let's do the running time whilst we're here, because that is basically all I need to say on that. They are your running times. Like I said, for just to confirm, the running times are 1 hour 40 minutes Act 1, 45 minutes for Act 2. There is posters throughout saying if you're going to get up from your seat, we can't promise we can put you back into it. Some people did get up, both around us, and also there was a couple that I saw get up near the table seats, but it's not like they were forced, like not able to come back. It's just, especially if you're near the table seats in the front in the stalls, the likelihood is that there is going to be someone going past you at some point, by someone, an actor going past you at some point, so the door you've come in / out of might be impossible to get back in through, if that makes sense. Another thing to mention is about your entry time. It is suggested that you arrive at the theatre about an hour before the show, I believe, and again, I didn't buy the tickets, I don't have them to hand, but my friend who had them on her device, I sound so old, said that our suggested entry time was at 1 o'clock. The show starts at 2, so we were essentially there an hour before, so yeah. Let's move on. The age recommendation for the show, according to Today Tits, which I also brought it up to help me, was 12 plus. It also says at parents / guardians discretion. It's probably down to certain things that happen in Kit Kat Club scenes, and just slight sexual references / innuendos. There isn't any swearing in the show, but at the end of the day, this all does take place during the war. So yeah, I would probably agree with the at parents' discretion situation. I wouldn't take a child to this. No. Before we get into my long list, let's first do merchandise, because I have 2 things, one of which I can't show you because I've literally lost it. So we're going to move forward. I bought the programme. The programme, it looks like this. This is the sticker that they put over your phone. I peeled it off and placed it here, because why not? It's square. I don't like a square programme. The other thing to mention is also this. So I saw it a week into the newest Sally Bowles and MC update, where it's Jamie Moscato and Joy Woods. So the programme still has the pictures from previous cast members, otherwise known as Matt Willis and Katie Hall. I don't know if they will update the programs. Apart from the MC and Sally Bowles update for our performance, everyone else was still the same. So all the other pictures kind of still tell the same story. I don't know. Or whether they'll get a new one. Now on to my list. So this basically covers the sensory side. Oh wait, no it doesn't, because the other thing I bought was the lapel pin, which looks like this. I don't know where it is. I might even have to purchase a new one because I don't know where it went. But it is essentially the Kit Kat Club logo on a pin. Groundbreaking. Where's my list? Here we go. My initial thoughts were as followed. So I put initial entrance, daunting, smoke, noise, different sounds, music. Now, like I said, as you enter the theatre, you are greeted by someone with a sticker. Once you've gone through that stage, you are into the Kit Kat Club area, where you are following a certain route through the club area where there is a bar and a cloakroom and toilets before you go up the first set of stairs to the stalls-ish area and other areas for after that. So to get to that point, there were red lights, there were bright lights. I think this is the bit that put me off going before this time, because I didn't feel like I was okay enough to go alone to this show. That's why I'd put it off for so long. Now I've been there, I think I could do it on my own if I ever chose to go back and see a different version of the show or different MC and Sally Bowles. But it was quite overwhelming, the different smells, sounds, noises, and on top of that it was also quite warm. It wasn't hot the day we went. It was about 16 degrees outside. I didn't bring coats or anything with me, and I was quite warm to begin with. Act 2 I was then cold, so make that make sense. But initially walking in, it was quite a warm, stuffy environment, especially with everything else going on around you. It was quite a lot on the senses. Getting to your seats is also at times slightly disorientating. Like I said, we were in the dress circle and there were like 2-3 different routes to get to different areas of the dress areas. So just be aware and ask for help. To get through to seating, there is also music going on in different bars and areas, and performances going on, so you can sit and watch those, or stand and watch them should I say. However, there isn't a lot of space, so if you've got the performance going on above the bar, you've still got the bar going on, there's the line for drinks, and if you are trying to find somewhere to sit and watch what's going on, it's just, there's a lot of people in not the world's largest space. So again, it is something to be aware of. On top of that, toilet wise, I haven't spoken about toilets in a while, but we decided we were going to go at the beginning of the show before the show started. We went all the way up to the top circle because we thought they'd be quieter, which was a lot of steps, and it was also really tight on space, not as tight as other places have been. Fortune Theatre, I'm talking about you, and the Ambassadors Theatre, I'm also talking about you, but it was a tight space. So yeah, another thing to be aware of. Act by act. For Act 1, I put a loud ending to the end of Money, as in money makes the world go round. That song, it ends quite abruptly and quite loudly, something to be aware of. And also in Act 1, but also throughout the show, if you're in the stalls, especially if you're in the big money table seats, people / actors will walk past you to make their entrances onto the stage. If you've not been to see the show yet, essentially there is seating on both sides. So there's two sides and the stage is in the middle. Surrounding both sides are seating, whether they be in boxes or table seats, and then there are stall seats behind those. View wise, brilliant, but there is the possibility, if you're in the stalls, that someone will walk past you, or if you're in the table seats, you might be talked to during a scene. There may be some interactions, just so you're aware. Act 2 I've got that starts with a visible gun. Don't we love them? The visible gun comes out from below by MC. The stage, as well as being circular and movable in that it goes round, also has a bit in the middle that has a trapdoor, but also has a bit that pushes up. So MC comes from the trapdoor up into the middle of the stage holding a gun. He holds it in a ready to fire position. Once he is in his final position, if you will, MC does fire the gun. There is no gun sound that goes with it, there's no bang. Instead, a Nazi flag comes out of the end of the gun, and that is joined by a very shrill whistle blown by the MC. It's a loud whistle, it goes on for a while. So yeah, I was like, no, can I? Yeah. Also in Act 2 you have, at the end of the song Married Reprise, MC again. The third one is also kind of his fault. But in the end of Married Reprise he has a glass which he then wraps in a cloth, puts down on the ground, goes to stamp on it. That gets joined by smashing a glass sound and also paper on the stage, and on top of that a near blackout. It doesn't go completely black at that point, but black enough. It's to symbolise that the room that the song and action was going in was attacked by a brick getting smashed into the window. But it is quite sudden and relatively loud. There is kind of a build up to that moment, so you can kind of prepare yourself, but it's a situation, so I did want to mention. And the final one that I have is at the end of Cabaret Reprise, pretty much the last few bars of the show. The last song is Cabaret Reprise. It's sung by MC, and it's taking place in the Kit Kat Club. The MC then becomes kind of the conductor of the orchestra, which the music of that song gets more and more loud and disjointed and eerie and not fun. And it builds to this crescendo, and then the lights go out for Act 2 and the bells happen. But the whole like building of this disjointed sound and noise and music is a lot, again, on the senses, especially with what's happening on the stage in front of you at the same time. It just kind of gives it a really eerie, slightly creepy ending, which it's supposed to. The whole point of the show is to kind of play with your mind and make you think about things and how everything gets twisted from this like beautiful place, this Kit Kat Club where nothing bad happens. You leave your cares and worries outside, and as the show goes on, how that thought is kind of like played with in your brain. So that was my list in the content and sensory warnings. Like I said, now I've seen it, I would probably go back and watch the show alone and not be as anxious as I was this time round. It's very much the unknown with this one. I'd heard a lot from different people and different sources, and so it was one that I definitely wanted to see the first time with somebody. But so hopefully this might have helped you slightly, I don't know. But enough of me wittering on. I'm gonna go and eat some food. So that means that I have to bid you all farewell and thank you for watching this video. If you have watched to the end, congratulations. If you have any questions or you think I've missed anything out, please by all means leave it in the comments down below. But all that's left to say is the usual, which is thank you very much. I love you all lots. I hope you come back, and finally, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. Bye everyone.